Now we are going to stay right here. You are going to go away. See you in fellowship hours. Okay. This day should be marked down on the calendar. Mike Lewis only took less than half an hour to do the whole teaching.
Yeah.
A miracle.
Yeah, I got to get it down to 10 minutes. Don't make fun of me. I was waiting for Dawn to say, we're going to stay right here unless Mike pushes the wrong button again.
Well, I've done it enough times, so I'm not going to criticize somebody else for doing it. Never forget, I had everything edited one time. I accidentally hit cancel.
Oh, yeah.
And that means another 2 hours of going through the tape and the recording and editing it out.
Well, you should have been better the second time around.
Yeah. Hey, Dana.
Hey, babe.
Straight up from
Hey,
Texas.
Lena.
I give you Dana Lewis.
Welcome to the crowd.
Unique wants to learn Jesus. Jimmy just let the dog in our room and said, Unique wants to learn about Jesus.
Hey, John Lynn's always talking about practicing on dogs when you speak in tongues and interpret and teach. And
Unique hasn't missed many fellowships.
No. No, 12 years old. She's getting up there.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
12 years old?
that's what, 72 in dog's years?
No wonder she won't jump.
No wonder she won't jump. Right.
Jump. Been there, done that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if somebody told me to jump,
Like you're kidding.
Yeah. Yeah.
somebody told me to jump, I'd tell them, you go jump.
Yeah, right.
Not me. My body's getting older, but my mind still says, okay, I'll try.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, well. So any of us do anything exciting for Memorial Day?
If I would have done any less, I would have been gone back in time. Even I even started the barbecue. When did we barbecue? Yesterday?
Saturday.
Saturday. I made my son take over. Did we do it? Yep, you got it. Good. Yep.
It's a nice, enjoyable day of doing pretty much nothing.
One thing I'm glad I did yesterday, there was something I posted on Facebook, and that's that I'm named after an uncle who was shot down over Germany and killed during World War II.
Wow.
So that's the whole reason for Memorial Day for me.
Yep.
Yeah, people just don't know the terror and the horror of what war is really like.
No. Nope.
My father was a Marine from the time he was 17 to 31.
Wow.
My uncles were, and one was in the Army and Navy. I've got nephews that are Marine and Army, and neighbors and friends. So I think about all of them, of the friends that they lost and the things they've seen. But besides that, my dad, I think of Mike's uncle a lot on any day like today. His Uncle John, because he's still, well, he probably isn't now for the first year of his life for the past since he was in his early 20s, maybe even 19. Has still been very involved in finding POWs and feeding vets and very involved. So I think about Uncle John a lot. He's one of my heroes.
Cool.
But I also thought this morning, as I was scrolling real fast through a lot of the posts about today, Memorial Day, which I even did myself. But I thought I was going to take the time, but I never did, but to write a little note about, you know, the people in my life, you know, like what I just shared, friends, relatives, family, about them losing friends, but our ultimate gift is sacrifice will always be Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Wow.
So, in my head, I had this really nice little letter going.
Yeah. I have a lot of nice little letters going in my head.
Yeah, me too. Sometimes they just turn into a really good prayer.
Yeah. It's like I talked to my sister over the weekend, and that was the first time I'd talked to her in, God, I don't know, like half a year maybe.
Wow.
And it's not because I don't like her or she doesn't like me. I just don't call people.
Yeah, I'm not really a phone person either.
Like
Or
sometimes,
and answering and
at times I think about calling one of you guys and it just kind of passes. Not because I'm in dire need to talk to somebody, but just to say hi, see how you're doing, you know, let you know I care.
You care?
Yes, I do.
call me.
Okay. I know I have Mike's number. Do I? I have your line. I have your landline, I think.
Yeah, you have
Yeah.
a landline.
So maybe I'll try that some day this week, giving you a buzz.
Okay.
I'd really rather have you call me than buzz me. See, I not only do my setup lines, I do the punch lines too.
Well, Dawn, sometimes when I read your little jokes, sometimes I pray for you and sometimes I laugh.
Mike DeGiorgio seems to think I need a lot of help, a lot of it.
It's all in the delivery.
Well, tell me about nice teaching, guys. I missed all but the last 10 minutes of it.
It is awesome.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
short. But it was a great teaching.
Always good to hear about Ephesians. Can't get enough.
Yeah.
There's so much packed in there. It's like lemonade concentrate.
Lemonade concentrate. That's a good one. I like that.
Oh boy.
Got my drone out today. Did a little drone flying.
Ooh.
Oh, really? Well, did you use it to find the golf ball?
No, no, probably could.
Yeah, you should just take your drone with you when you go golfing. Pull it out and find the ball.
Yeah.
Now, Don's a better golfer than that. He knows
That's
where his
true.
ball landed.
Yeah, the only time I usually lose a ball is in the water.
Well,
Water
Yeah.
prone too. I get psyched out.
I'm not in the trees as much as I used to be, but sometimes there's little tributaries sneak up on you.
Yeah.
well, speaking of tributaries and waters and drones and fishing, I saw this guy on YouTube who used a drone, or not a drone, but what do you call those things that go up and hover? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, a little quadcopter.
Okay. And he used it to, and he put a line and a hook on it with bait, and he hovered up over a bed of brim bluegill and went down there and caught a fish and pulled it up out of the water with it.
Yeah,
That's too much fun.
I've seen videos on that. Yeah, that's crazy.
So what you scout out, Don?
Did you get a good look at the neighborhood with it?
Oh yeah, it's really pretty cool to see how everything's laid out and what's where and how close some things are and how far away other things are. And some of the landmarks that you don't think about, like gas lines and stuff, are very easy to see in the landscaping and stuff. And how high the trees are and how high some of the towers are, those kind of things you don't think about. But now I know that in order to clear some of the trees around here, I need to be at least 150 feet up. Good sized trees out here. They're about 100 feet plus or minus, right in that range. Some of those are pretty good sized trees.
Wow.
Well, Don, I got a question with drones. Is there a maximum height they can go up to,
Yes.
either by law or?
Yeah, there's a legal limit of 400 feet above the ground.
Oh, okay, that way they don't interfere with planes.
Yeah, because planes and at least fixed wing airplanes are not allowed to fly lower than 500 feet unless they can be guaranteed. There are a few exceptions, but not many. But 500 feet is the limit. Normally it's 1,000 feet, but that's over populated areas, 500 feet over unpopulated areas. In helicopters, you go by the same rules, but they can descend below 500 feet also. But normally, powered aircraft are 500 feet or more above the ground. So
Okay.
that's why the drones stay at 400 or below. So you got that 100-foot cushion. So,
That's cool.
because the drones are more maneuverable, everybody has the right of way over the drone. So if we even think that we're in close proximity to or in a conflict with a manned aircraft, we give way because we're not in that aircraft, they are.
Yeah,
So we give way.
Huh.
It's always the more maneuverable aircraft too that
yes.
gives way.
You have to license them up there?
Pardon?
You have to get a license for one there?
You don't have to, but if you want to use it for commercial purposes, if you want to make a little money, taking pictures, whatever, then you do need to have a license. And
I'm sorry. I never saw them real practical until the last fireworks show that Dan and I went to down on the water. Because we're sitting on we went down to Bay Cliff for Seabrook and watched the fireworks, and I look up and there's about 20 drones up there,
oh my,
different areas where they're videoing the fireworks that were being shot out over Galveston Bay. And I thought, oh wow, times sure have changed.
yeah, really. Now to fly at night, you need a waiver, so you have to have a Part 107 license as well as a waiver to fly at night. Otherwise, you're in conflict with the FAA regulations to fly a drone at night.
So that'd be nationally then, if it's FAA, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're selling these things everywhere. You see them everywhere, and I've been tempted, but I don't. I mean, when the kids were little, we'd get those airplanes and remote control things and cars. I guess I gotta wait for the grandkids to get spiked on it or something.
Here's mine.
Cool. How's the camera?
It's a DJI Spark. I've got prop guards on it because it makes it easier to see. Otherwise, it's really hard to see. It's really like a small bird. And It's a DJI Spark. It has a 1080p high definition camera on it and a gimbal, which makes it take very, very steady pictures, even in windy conditions.
Wow.
Hmm.
You could be 50 feet above the ground and staring at a flagpole, and that flag will just wave like you're just sitting that camera right on a flagpole or right on a pedestal. It's that still.
Wow.
It's really nice.
So what's your range on it? What you control it through your computer mechanism?
I have a little controller with
Some controls.
some controls on it, and it will fly. It has a maximum range of 1.25 miles.
Uh.
So it'll go a long ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell me, does it show you what it's taking pictures of?
Yes, I
Oh,
have
good.
an iPad Mini that I can connect to my controller, and I can see what it sees at all times.
Cool.
I know what I'm taking pictures of, and I can see if I see something, I can frame it and take still pictures as well as video pictures.
Cool.
Wow.
Very nice.
Does your wife do it with you?
No, but she likes to watch the pictures on the TV.
Yeah.
It has a little SD card,
Uh-huh.
and I can plug that into my laptop, and I can plug my laptop into the big screen TV. We've got a 55-inch on the wall, and I plug it into my HDMI ports, and it's just right there on the big screen, and it's really nice.
Cool.
I mean, it's as clear and vibrant as if you're just watching it in real time. It's really fun. It's nice. I used to do aerial photography a long time ago, and did it from airplanes. And I always thought, man, it'd be great if you could do this with get lower to the ground. But back then, RC remote controlled airplanes were just in their beginning infant stages of doing some of those kind of things.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, even back in the 80s, the late 80s, early 90s, back in there, that's about when I was doing my aerial photography. And I made enough money to pay for all my flight instruction, so flight training. That was pretty good.
Cool.
Yeah.
And a little bit more.
So is there any local like stadiums where you could watch a game or a part of a baseball, football, anything like that?
Most of the stadiums are off limits. Can't fly over large groupings of people. Most of the stadiums also are in or near airports, and you're not allowed to fly within 5 miles of an airport.
Oh, okay.
Without permission. You can do it, but you need permission.
Right.
And to fly over a stadium, it would be, it's doable, but even with permission, you can't fly over the stadium.
That makes sense. I mean, as soon as I said it and you said that, I thought, well, yeah, because you wouldn't want 500 drones up there, because then they would be getting upset because you weren't paying $50 for a seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I have 5 batteries. It runs on a battery. And the batteries only last about 10, 12 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah.
So you'd get to see one batter, and then you'd have to land. then you put it back up in the air, and you'd see another batter, and then you'd have to land.
Unless
So
there's
it's not very practical for long periods of time. It's more practical for taking video or still pictures and then stitching them together and making little 1 or 2 minute vignettes or videos or YouTube videos. Some people take pictures of their favorite scenery and put it on YouTube, and they're fun to watch as well.
Have you ever had a bird attack?
No, I haven't, but some people have. And some hawks have taken issue with some of these little
Huh.
quadcopters and latched onto them, and that's it. They're gone. Yeah. So, but you always need to have line of sight uh, with your quadcopter or your drone, so those things don't happen. Because if you see a bird coming up and examining or getting too close to your drone, you can get it out of the way, and they'll usually leave you alone. And then some people have those 3D goggles. They put those on, so it's you're looking through the goggles, and you see what the drone sees. So it's the next best thing to actually flying while being on the ground. And some of those are pretty awesome as well. I haven't flown one with those yet. They're a little pricey. They probably cost as much as the drone.
But
But some people use them almost exclusively when they're taking pictures, those kind of things, for hire. And when you do that, you need another observer to make sure that you're not getting yourself in trouble, because you can only see straight ahead. You know, if you start drifting left, you might hit a pole or a tree or things like that. Wires, you want to stay away from wires.
Mhm.
And cell towers, you want to stay away from those. Things that generate power can affect the magnetism and the GPS reception and a lot of those things, and make your quadcopter fly in a different direction than you want it to, which is not good.
so you can fly it around town and check out the price of gas.
There you go. Yep. Mhm.
For 12 minutes.
Well, what you do is you take all these different shots, and if you ever watch a commercial that's, say it's 30 seconds long, a commercial's 30 seconds long, there might be 40 different moving segments in that 30-second interval. They stitch them all together. They'll take 1 second of a picture going this way, and then they'll take another and they'll put it next, fade it into this one, and another one. And some of them are very short. If you watch commercials and you really study the way they're put together, very rarely does your eye stay on one location more than 1 or 2 seconds. That would be very long, 2 or 3 seconds. So you can get a lot of information in a short amount of time.
Yeah, we learned a lot of that when we were watching, when we were in Florida with the Jesus Christ, the diameter of the ages.
Yep. Mhm.
Watching Franco, it was, and another gentleman and his wife, it was quite amazing how they put it all together. It
Yeah.
really was. It was
Yeah.
definitely
There's always something. Yeah. Yeah. There's always something that's almost perfect. So it's like almost, I kind of visualize it like you're driving up a hill and you reach the top of the hill and you can see really far, and then you go over the hill. So you get that just a few seconds there of a perfect view, and that's all you need. That's all you need, and you just edit out the rest, and everybody thinks, "Oh wow." And then you put a few more moments like that, and you can, depending on how you butt them together, you can either make them real sharp or fade or whatever. All kinds of transitions that you can do and make it look really, really cool.
We don't see many of them over here at home because we're only about 300 yards from the airport.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just thought about that. I never thought about it until you mentioned that.
Yeah.
I know.
You can usually fly near airports. You just have to call them and let them know when you're going to be flying and where and how high and how long. And depending on how busy they are, they'll just say, okay. and maybe
If
just,
I buy one, I'm gonna do what John said. I'm gonna put a hook on the end of it with some bait, and I'm gonna take it up over the school, and I'm gonna go fishing.
there you go. Yeah, they'll hover really nice.
Yeah.
hmm
Hmm.
And you get it up in the air a little bit, 30 feet probably over that water. Little bobber on there. When that bobber disappears, make it climb real fast.
I got a real good picture of that when he was describing it. I said, "Hey, I know where I could do that."
You can video it and everything. Look, I got a fish. But it's a lot of fun.
Hmm.
I enjoy it.
I know here in New York, they were having out near LaGuardia Airport, they were having problems with people flying their drones out there.
Oh yeah, even
A couple of years. This is a couple of years ago.
yeah, the Part 107 wasn't in writing until a year and a half or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And before then, we had, Part 333 or something to that effect. I don't know what it was now. But then before that, there was nothing.
Right.
I mean, it was just like flying a radio-controlled airplane. You just didn't want to fly it near people and in ways that would hurt people. But I know people who had remote-controlled helicopters that were like $1,000. They'd fly them in gymnasiums as demonstrations and fly them in schools and these kind of things. And you can't do that anymore. But I saw one guy, he was really, really good, and he'd do demonstrations in schools and stuff. And we just happened to be watching him one day. He was in his driveway doing some things with his helicopter, and that helicopter was probably as big as my desk. It was huge. And the props on the helicopter is just a two-bladed single prop helicopter. It looked like a regular helicopter. And he crashed that thing, and your heart just went, because you know he's really that as good as he was. You knew he had a lot of money wrapped up in that thing, and you knew when that thing cracked up like that was going to cost him a lot of money. But he was really good.
Can you insure
Yeah, yeah. If you're going to fly for commercially or for hire, then you have to have insurance. Yeah. You don't have to, but like driving without insurance, you don't want to do that either.
You ought to drive one straight up in the air, Dawn, with the video running and say, and entitle it on YouTube, "My Viewpoint During the Gathering."
My very first flight, I was so nervous because you hear about all the flyaways and all this kind of stuff. So I made sure I wanted to make sure I was doing everything right, but still you had that in the back of your mind. So my first flight, I took it up about 4 feet and I let it hover there for what seemed like an hour, but it was probably like 30 seconds. And then I took it up just so you could see over the fence. The fence is like, I think 5 or 6 feet. And you could just see the neighborhood all of a sudden. And it looked so cool. And then I took it up to 30 feet. You could see all the rooftops lined up. They were all the same height. And it looked like you could walk across them. And that was 30 feet. I thought, okay, let's see how we're doing okay. So then we went up to 50 feet. And then it went up to 100 feet. And then at 100 feet, I could see above the trees a little bit. I think maybe I went up to 150. I think I went up to 150 feet the first day. And then you could see over the trees to the supermarket, to the intersection, to the freeway, to the neighborhoods beside us, to the creek behind us, and the little ponds around us. And so from there, I just did a 360. And it took about, I don't know, I did it really, really slow. And then when I got all the way around, then I just said, okay, time to come down. So I just came straight down. So I went straight up and then straight back down. I didn't want it going anywhere.
Yeah,
I-
some,
When I was going to get my pilot's license, I bought what was at that time a really cool flight simulator for the computer. I mean, I can't remember who put it out, but it had all the major airports in it and everything else.
Yeah.
And I was working with that. Now they have a similar one on Google Earth. Google Earth actually has a flight simulator, and the first time I found that thing, it's basically the same program, but a lot less complicated
Mhm.
as the one I used to run back in the 90s. But it was so awesome because now you've got Google Earth and you're flying over your neighborhood and over
Mhm.
the Astrodome and over
Yeah.
the arenas, and that's pretty cool.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Back when I was doing some training, I had one of those old Tandy 1000 computers from Radio Shack.
Oh yeah.
And I had me this little simulator, little flight simulator. You used the joystick. You didn't even have joysticks. You had to use a keyboard,
Yes.
for up, down, left, right, and all this, and how fast you went. And I got pretty good at landing it after a while. But I did a lot of flying on there, and it would leave little trail where you had flown.
Uh-huh.
And so I started learning. I learned how to do holding patterns that way because I could see where I'd been, and then I'd throw a little wind in there, and then I'd see, okay, now I understand why I have to do this and why I have to do that. And so there was a little bit of educational value there that translated to the real world in a real airplane. So I did a lot of that kind of stuff.
Mike would do that, but he would wake me up like 2 or 3 or 5 in the morning. We're in New York, Janet. Wake up. Look, see.
Mhm. And now my brother,
Yeah.
he never got his license. He took a couple lessons, but he never got his license. He had a lot of kids. I didn't have kids. So that makes a big difference too. So he's been in the flight simulator on the computers for years. And he is really good at it. He goes everywhere. And, he flies out west. He flies in the east in New York. He goes to other countries in London, and he's got different airplanes that he can fly, and he knows all about them. And he's really good at it, and he really enjoys it.
I
And every
started
time a new version comes out, he always tells me.
I started getting interested in it because when I was working for Denny's, I was flying all over the country, commercial airlines, and I thought the more I would learn about flying, that's why I started working toward that, the better I would appreciate and not be so conscious about flying. But it had the exact opposite effect. You'd be sitting in the plane and you're saying, man, he is over pitching this turn, over pitching this turn. Jiminy Christmas, what is he thinking up there? It was like you became a back wing flyer.
Yeah, backseat pilots. Yeah. Okay, now you're supposed to do 30 degrees of bank. Whoa, this is a little steeper than 30 degrees, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah, for standard rate turns. Standard rate turns are 2-minute turns, 3 degrees per second. So depending on how fast you are, determines the bank angle.
Yep. I've been in some hairy ones too.
Yeah.
So, I was in that flight in New York to JFK that went off the runway once. And we
You were
took
in that plane?
Huh?
You were in the plane, or you were
Yeah.
simming?
Yeah, in the plane.
Oh my.
No, that was when I was traveling all the time. One time we took off from Hobby Airport down here in Houston, and I was going to Arkansas, and we had a changeover in Dallas and then on the Little Rock. And when we took off from Houston, I was supposed to stay on the same plane. It was supposed to be a stopover and then go to where my destination. Well, when we took off from Houston, however he put those flaps up, the back of the tail scraped the runway, and I was sitting back there. It was the most horrendous scratching you ever heard. And we're coming into Dallas for the intermediate, and this plane is all over the place, man. And he gets it down, and they just very politely said, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have to change flights. We know it was not planned this way. However, we will make sure that all your baggage, and I'm sitting there thinking, dude, you wrecked the plane.
That's probably true.
Oh, man.
If you look at the design of the tails, they're all designed with that.
Oh, yeah.
Up so that they won't hit, but you know.
That was a Southwest airline flight, man. It scared the crap out of me.
Oh man.
Yeah, I had neat things too. I met Terry Bradshaw one time in first class on a plane and got his autograph for my dad on my ticket.
Yeah,
So there's a lot of cool stuff.
that's cool.
Terry Bradshaw, that's the guy from Pittsburgh. Football gone through you Cleveland fans.
I've heard of him.
I know. You heard of Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah,
Yes, don't they have a football team there?
Yeah, right.
that's in Georgia, isn't it?
Yeah. And where I grew up in Wheeling sits right in between Ohio and Pennsylvania. And you were either a Cleveland fan, a Pittsburgh fan, or visiting. And if you were visiting, you always saw a fight between a Cleveland fan and a Pittsburgh fan.
Most of them, I think, are Pittsburgh fans in the Wheeling area, though. I'll bet.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would say, I would say they probably have the majority, but goodness gracious. My sister, she lives there. We went to the Hall of Fame on one visit up there, took all the kids and all the nephews and nieces and stuff. And she's a diehard Cleveland fan, boy.
Yeah.
Diehard.
Gee, I remember this one time I was wearing, it was near Christmas. I was walking down one of the streets here in Brooklyn and I had on my Red Sox hat. Santa Claus came up to me and threatened to beat me up.
Come on.
Old Saint Nick.
Yeah, Yankees fan. Don't like him anymore.
Next week, homonyms.
Right? You have next week, I have the following week.
All right.
John and Dana, if you want to jump in, just say so. Short or long. In fact, I'll give up my spot for you if you want to teach. It's always interesting. I started reading a book and now I'm going to teach it.
Oh yeah, that's the name of the game, man.
This isn't one of the books of the Bible, though. This is Don't Blame God.
Yeah, that's a book that gets you hooked.
In fact, in 2 weeks when I teach, I might be teaching that, start that. Although maybe I should get back to Hebrews. It's been, what, a few months? So,
It'll still be there when you decide to get back.
I know. It's not going in. It's not going to come to an end unless Jesus Christ comes back.
It's been there a long time.
You know, that's really something to think. There's going to be so many things that everything changed on Pentecost. I mean, everything changed on Pentecost. And Jesus Christ is going to come back someday and everything's going to change again.
Yeah, the Are the Dead Alive Now is not going to be a good seller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I often thought about it. But, you know,
It'll be a history book.
it'll be a
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I think I'm gonna bug out. Call it.
Okay.
I'm bugging with you.
Yeah.
I gotta go
Okay.
back to work tomorrow.
Before we leave, good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye, boy.
God bless.